You think silence is nothing. You think if you stop talking, she stops caring. But here's the twist. When you go quiet the right way, her mind gets loud. Very loud. Not with anger, with questions. Why is he calm? Did I lose him? Was he stronger than I thought? That's the power most men never use because they're busy explaining. Not you, not today. In the next 4 minutes, I'll show you the simple psychology behind why your silence pulls her in, why it makes her rethink her choices, and why chasing ruins that effect every time. I'll also give you the exact plan, when to speak, what to ignore, and how to hold your frame without games. If you've ever felt confused by mixed signals or tired of talking your way into less respect, stay. At minute 4, you'll understand the pattern. You'll see where you gave away power and you'll know how to get it back. Calmly. No drama, no tricks, just clarity. Ready? Watch what happens when a man stops trying to be heard and starts letting silence do the talking. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that the online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course takes things to an entirely new level, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. And you won't find this information in any video on my channel. It's available in both English and Spanish language, so you can learn in the language you feel most comfortable with. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit thestoiccouple.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. Let's dive in. Number 1. When you go silent, her mind panics. The first impact is deceptively soft. She shrugs, posts something bright, laughs a shade too loud, convinces friends she's unbothered, and for a few hours the rehearsal feels like reality. But silence doesn't announce itself with thunder. It seeps like cold through an open window. And the moment the crowd goes quiet and the screen goes dark, your absence begins to press against the walls of her certainty. What unsettles her isn't the lack of words, but the lack of readability. She cannot predict you, cannot decode your pulse, cannot tilt the conversation to recenter her control. The last messages replay with new weight. The timing of your responses becomes a timeline of clues. Your last goodbye, casual on the surface, now tastes like finality, and while ego insists you'll crawl back to the familiar pattern, intuition whispers that you've stepped into something different, a calm that carries edges. This is where most men relapse, where the fear of being misunderstood drags them back to the stage to explain themselves into exhaustion. But the Stoic understands that explanation offered to someone committed to misunderstanding is just fuel for the fire. The practice here is restraint with purpose. You are not weaponizing silence to punish. You are withdrawing to purify, to let the noise settle until the truth is audible. And as the hours stretch without your predictable "good morning," the questions multiply. The story she told herself about being irreplaceable begins to wobble, and panic doesn't arrive as tears. It arrives as scrolling, as checking, as that tightness just under the ribs when certainty loses its balance and pride has no sturdy chair to sit on. Number 2. Her thoughts turn against her. Uncertainty is the mind's most expensive addiction, and your silence is its perfect supplier. Deprived of your responses, her brain drafts possibilities at a rapid, merciless pace. He's angry. He's calm. He's done. He's testing me. He met someone. He finally saw through the performance. And none of those fantasies offer peace because uncertainty feeds on itself, turning yesterday's confidence into today's interrogation. She visits old threads like crime scenes, reads timestamps like prophecies, scrolls your stories for context that isn't there. And every gap gains dramatic soundtrack because when imagination directs the film, fear writes the script. Here's the insight most men miss. Your job is not to interrupt the spiral to rescue her from discomfort. The spiral is the teacher you could never be. The stark lesson that your energy had climate control power in her emotional weather. Practically, you protect your center, reduce your digital footprint, channel idle fingers into deliberate work. Gym, craft, reading, revenue, prayer, cold showers, longer walks without headphones. Not to look detached, but to become the man who no longer requires external noise to confirm internal worth. Every hour you don't appease uncertainty with crumbs is an hour your nervous system learns a richer calm. And while she paces inside the maze of what-ifs, you are busy widening the path of who-ifs, who you could be when peace, not validation, is the oxygen you breathe. Number 3. What she feels, you don't need to prove. Detachment isn't frost, it's fire under control. The heat is still there, it just serves you now. You stop negotiating your value in the marketplace of moods, stop renting your self-respect to temporary interest. Stop subsidizing disrespect with access, and the signal she receives, even from a distance, is startling. Your rhythm no longer syncs to her songs. She'll test the boundary through soft entries, a harmless emoji, a nostalgic reel, a ran into your favorite coffee place message, not always because she misses you, often because she misses what your attention did to her reflection. Your work is to stay congruent. Reply only when it honors your standard. And when you do, reply like a man who has air in his lungs and time on his side. Short, kind, unneedy, with a pace that says, "My life is full," because it is. The psychology beneath this is simple and brutal. People value what they can lose, and nothing makes value visible like scarcity paired with dignity. Practical framing. Decide your rules in daylight so you don't bargain in midnight feelings. No late-night emotional audits. No double texts. No reactive posts. No passive-aggressive breadcrumbs. Keep your calendar noisy with purpose so your phone can stay quiet with power. By the time she notices, words aren't pulling you back into orbit. She will begin to feel what you discovered first. The difference between being entertained and being enriched, and detachment, properly trained, is enrichment disguised as distance. Number 4. When silence turns into attraction. Attraction is not born in applause, it's born in uncertainty with respect. The sacred zone where she cannot predict you but cannot dismiss you either, and your silence, carried with composure, builds that zone brick by unreactive brick. The man who once flooded her notifications with oxygen now stands like a lighthouse. No horns, no drama, just steady light on a fixed rock. And ships, even prideful ones, steer by lighthouses at night. She will begin to romanticize the calm she mocked, to revalue the patience she tested, to grieve the reliability she stretched thin, because memory edits itself in the presence of scarcity. Notice the shift in her language, from declarative to inquisitive, from dismissive to exploratory, from "I know him" to "I might have misread him," and that soft pivot is where desire hides. Your discipline here is not to cash out early, not to exchange a little attention for a lot of ground lost. You remain warm but rare, principled without performance, letting the quality of your silence validate the quality of your presence. A practical edge. Answer invitations that respect your time, decline bait that rents your peace, and let your improvements, body tighter, schedule sharper, money cleaner, spirit steadier, carry the story your mouth no longer needs to tell. Reversal isn't a trick, it's a return. To your center, to earned standards, to the simple equation that attention without appreciation becomes erosion, and you do not erode anymore. Number 5. Guilt, reflection, realization. Silence is the most honest mirror because it reflects without commentary. In its glass, she sees the scenes she preferred to crop. The unanswered kindness, the little humiliations, the boredom she rewarded with tests, the certainty she confused for weakness. And guilt arrives not with confession, but with comparisons, as new conversations feel loud, unfocused, performative. She begins to measure other men against the steadiness you once provided, and steadiness, like clean water, is noticed most after thirst. The psychology here is not revenge, it's resonance. When a behaviour no longer receives payment, the nervous system notices its debt. She may reach out with sincerity. She may reach out with strategy. She may reach out to relieve the pressure of unclosed loops, but whatever the motive, your compass remains internal. Practical guidance. If she seeks repair, require clarity. Specifics over nostalgia, responsibility over revisionism, plans over promises. If she seeks entertainment, let silence remain her teacher. The point is not to make her feel bad, it's to keep your life good. And the mirror. Patient, wordless, relentless, will do what lectures never could. Teach by returning the truth at scale until the lesson lands or the learner leaves. Number 6. Why silence is the loudest answer. In a culture drunk on performance, silence is sobriety. It is the sober refusal to argue with perception, the sober acceptance that peace cannot be crowdsourced, the sober discipline to trade immediacy for integrity. Silence is loud because it is consistent. It does not escalate to be seen. It does not plead to be believed. It simply aligns behaviour with belief and lets time be the witness. Stoicism is not numbness, it is nerve. The nerve to endure the discomfort of being misunderstood while you build something that doesn't require understanding to function. Practically, this means your calendar becomes your creed. Morning routines you actually keep, boundaries you don't apologize for, inputs you curate like a surgeon, outputs you measure like a craftsman. It means you speak less but mean more, that your no arrives without essays and your yes arrives with follow-through. It means you stop collecting red flags like souvenirs and start honoring green flags like oxygen. And because algorithms, human or digital, reward retention, nothing retains attention like a life that retains its frame. Silence is that frame. Simple lines, strong corners, room for light. Number 7. How silence makes you reborn. By the time the world catches the update, you've already shipped the new build. The man who once leaked power in tiny concessions now holds pressure like a deep-sea hull, flexible, resilient, uncracked, because you trained your nervous system to choose breath over broadcast. Your days carry different texture, meals you taste, work you respect, solitude that doesn't itch, conversations that don't drain, progress that doesn't post itself for permission, and the strange, holy quiet of a phone that no longer decides your mood. Resurrection isn't spectacle, it's maintenance. 1,000 unphotographed choices that stack into a steady floor, and from that floor, your presence rises without announcements. If the past returns, you meet it with clarity, not craving. If it doesn't, you don't chase its ghost. Your standard became your shelter became your style, and your style, clean, calm, unbothered, is the whole point. Practically, schedule your life like someone you admire would live it. Non-negotiable health, earned money, hard reading, real friends, spiritual hygiene, and creative work that can stand without hashtags. The reward is not that she finally understands you. The reward is that you finally understand you, and the man who understands himself becomes a home he does not abandon for temporary rooms. In the end, silence proves what speeches promise, that a man's worth is safest in his habits, not in someone's hands, while she navigates the tide of reflection, some days warm, some days cold, some days tempted to reach, some days tempted to retreat. You move like weather that chose its own season, refusing to become winter just because someone else forgot their coat. Let the record show that you did not punish, you prioritized, you did not ghost, you grew, you did not vanish, you arrived into a life structured enough to hold peace and spacious enough to host love without begging for it to stay. If she asks what changed, you don't list grievances. You offer a sentence that fits in your chest. I chose quiet, where I used to choose chaos. And then you keep walking, because men who keep walking meet roads that keep opening, and roads that keep opening do not require applause to stay paved. So let the silence speak for you now, in your posture, in your schedule, in your standards. And watch how quickly the world raises its volume just to hear what a grounded man refuses to shout. If you're ready to take your dating life to the next level, my full online course is waiting for you. It's packed with powerful strategies you won't find on YouTube, and it's available in English and Spanish. Click the link in the description and start mastering the game today. See you in the next video.